Happy Halloween. We come to you with another edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast as we break down all the big trades from the trade deadline that has just now passed. Plus, we'll talk about our teams this past week. And as always, wrapping things up with the breeze around the NFL and the Kirby on Sports PickEm. That's all coming your way next on the Kirby on Sports podcast. Trick or treat. Welcoming you to the Kirby on Sports podcast. It's going to be a fun show. Big thanks to our sponsors. As always, PM Plus Reserve, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Barrett, Pest and Termite Services, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, and Shenandoah Music. Let's not waste any more time. The weapon, Dan Dembski. Dan, trick or treat, my friend.
Trick or treat, man. Better give me something. Kit Kats, please. Those are my go-to.
I just had
go-to Halloween candy.
Dude, I just had 2 or 3 before I got on the mic here.
Oh, man.
Catsforthebomb.com.
There's nothing better, man.
Absolutely. And just on a side note about that, apparently I hear that the local crumble cookie that just opened in our area is having a Kit Kat style.
All right, I have to cut in here. What the hell are we doing? Okay.
Trick or treat, Carlos.
I'm sorry. I have to be thebomb.com. I'm sorry, 2008 freaking call. What the hell was that? Thebomb.com?
Right off the bat. Hit him right off the bat.
Oh my Lord. And then that intro. What the hell, Kirby? You had all day to think of a clever Halloween intro, and all you came with the Happy Halloween. Corporate stooge Kirby here. Welcome to the show. We're going to talk about blah, 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 blah. All next on the Kirby on Sports podcast, trick or treat. What the hell was that? If you wanted a good intro, you could have just asked. You could have asked.
Well, let's hear your rendition. Why don't we?
No, because I don't have time to make it on the fly, Kirby, okay? But even if I wanted to make it on the fly, it would have been 10 times better than Happy Halloween.
I did my scary low monotone.
No, what was frightening was how pathetic it was. God.
I like how he just brought me. He just says the weapon, and boom! I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting to be on the screen this quickly.
He's like the weapon. Well, he froze for like 5 seconds before he didn't know which one he wanted to bring in first. He knew I was going to rip him apart, so he was
in the same order forever.
And then we're sitting there talking about crumble, bro. Like I get enough crumble as it is. All right. Side note: my little sister works at Crumble. That's why. So
yeah, great place. Absolutely. I love it. Oh my God, their cookies are so big.
Kirby, we don't need a breakdown on the crumble cookies. We don't need to do this. This is not what the people are here for. We just gotta say it's good. You don't have to be like, they're so good and it's so convenient to get. Like, we don't need to do this. We don't need to do this.
I can hear people turning off the podcast right now as we speak. Actually, the pause button and the headphones have been removed, so that's a shame.
Yeah, definitely got blown out. That's why Carlos derailed this show.
No, I'm sorry. The reason why they're turning it off is because of you. I just saved this. I saved the listeners. You're welcome, America.
With some good comedic timing. That's what it's all about.
Yes.
I
So,
do.
ladies and gentlemen, that is the weapon, Dan Dembski. Better than ever. First and foremost, Dan, we're glad you're feeling better.
Thank God.
As he was not on last week.
That was
And
some rough shit.
Carlos, as always, it's great to see you, buddy.
It's just a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, once again, with my goons and goblins, if you will.
Goons and goblins.
Goons and goblins and the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't factor this in, but some interesting moves that involves one said Washington Commanders, which, woo, Chase Young's gone, Montez Sweat's gone. On one hand, I say to myself, a second and a third round pick. And on the other hand, I say, well, Chase didn't get his 5th year picked up. Montez was on a contract year. With these two subtractions with the trade, I'm hearing people say how many draft picks the Commanders have early on in this draft
Mm-hmm.
and how much cap space they have. So it depends on how you want to look at it. Chase Young and Montez are good players. Chase Young, obviously, with the ACL injury that may or may not have affected how he was performing this year.
Oh, whoa. Are you trying to say he wasn't performing well? Because by all accounts, he's been playing very well.
No, he has, but
So then why bring up the ACL?
Well, some teams I heard.
Got you there.
Some teams, I heard some teams were questioning the health of his knee.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, Montez was great. Chase was great. And you can argue a second and a third that why do we only get a second and a third? And me and Dan were talking about this the other day. You're probably going to Chase Young's probably going to ask for a lot more money if you keep him to the end of the season.
If he stays healthy too. If he stays healthy too.
If he stays healthy, correct. And if you cut bait with Chase Young at the end of the season, you probably get next to nothing.
You're not going to get it because he was going to leave. He wasn't with Washington. You guys proved that you guys didn't believe in him.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't know.
I can't really blame him.
It's not like he's performed the past couple of years. I mean, he's been hurt, obviously, with ACL. And then, he had a decent rookie season, I guess you could say. But, I mean, you're not going to, you got to get, I guess, what you can, especially since you didn't pick up his 5th year option, which is always such a weird thing to me when they have to pick it up on their 3rd season, not their 4th. It's so weird. And it was, Montez Sweat, of course, was just didn't want to be. They did Montez dirty. They sent him from a franchise who, is trying to figure out their way to a franchise who is completely lost and doesn't win anything. Like they did Montez dirty. So I doubt Montez stays in Chicago, but
yeah, he'll be heading somewhere else at the end of the season, I think, as well.
Chicago needed somebody, so hopefully that's
Chicago was
temporary
talking about, like they were going to trade away all their assets too. It's not like Chicago's going anywhere right now, and it doesn't look like they're going to be anytime soon.
It is an odd move for them if they're on the full rebuild, on the way for a full rebuild, most likely. I mean, one would say.
So this sort of bears the question, guys, the fact with these two moves the Commanders make. And on a side note there, in the past maybe 12, 13 hours, Josh Harris has traded away James Harden, Montez Sweat, and Chase Young. So pretty interesting there. But besides that, just looking here, the Commanders, it seems like they have a lot of room to work with. And I think they're starting to move ahead slightly to next year in terms of what their ultimate plan is, because you have a lot of draft picks with what you got from Chase and Montez. Plus, you have a lot of room to work with in the salary cap.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move for Washington. I think Josh Harris is showing that it's not the same old. They're not going to overpay It was going to be hard to. It was going to be impossible to bring both those guys back anyway. But especially when, obviously Chase Young. We talked about the injury concerns in the past. He has stayed healthy this year, and it took him a couple weeks to get going, but he was starting to really not come into his own, I would say, or dominate, but certainly started to step up and play well in the defensive scheme. But yeah, I think that's sort of a no-brainer at this point. I think they've given him enough time to be that franchise guy, and he hasn't been that way. So, Montez Sweat, we knew that he wasn't going to come back at the end of this season. He's gonna want too much, and I would imagine he wants to play for a contender, and Washington is not necessarily there right now. So,
there's Chicago.
Chicago definitely not. Yeah, which is interesting. But hey, you go to the team that's able to make the best deal, I think, and that's why I think Washington made this move, trying to load up the draft picks and show that the future is important to them, and not just signing players for the sake of signing them. I mean, I hate to go back to Albert Hainsworth, but we all know what happened there. Of course, that was a little bit of a different situation in general, but this franchise has made some really bad signings in the past. So I think they're trying to show that they can rebuild through the draft, and I think that's a good thing. And plus, like you said at the top, Kirby, all that cap space to make some big splash moves possibly in the offseason as well.
But the only thing is, we're still pretty early in the season here. Like,
we're not early anymore, dude. We're like halfway through.
It's the halfway point now.
Halfway point.
Well, it seems longer in comparison to my high school season. It just seems like the two schedules.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about high school. Okay.
No, the seasons are shorter. That's why I got confused.
They've always been shorter. What are we doing here?
Well,
okay. So here's the point.
Confused me.
Here's a point I want to make. Okay. So right now, the Commanders, after these trades, now have 9 picks. They have obviously their first rounder. They have 2 in the second round, and they have 2 in the third round. And then, they have their 4, 5, 6, and 7th pick. I mean, those are some pretty early picks. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But how often does Washington hit on their draft picks? They could be gearing this up for maybe they try to do some blockbuster deal and try to get a higher pick in the draft and maybe try to make a move for one of these quarterbacks because I don't think that they really believe in Sam Howell yet. So maybe they might be trying to position themselves to make a move in the draft if they need to. Obviously, they're going to wait and see how the season plays out, and maybe go up or maybe even try to go up and get somebody else, and maybe it's not necessarily a quarterback. I don't know, but it's just an interesting move for them to trade their 2 best or 2 of their better players for pennies on the dollar, basically.
Well,
but at least I think the point is they get something, right? Because if they leave in the offseason, you get
obviously, yeah. Like, obviously, like, yeah, okay, they got something, but like, to me, it's just like, I think the 49ers definitely fleeced them. Like, I don't think Washington comes out looking great from that trade at all, because you literally gave, you basically gave Thanos the Infinity Stone. Like,
but we've seen
look at the other end of that.
You pulled a Doctor Strange and you gave the Time Stone to Thanos, and now
one player is not going to make that much of a difference with that team.
But look at the defense for
one player. Right, Dan. One Infinity Stone is just one Infinity Stone, but they already had the other Infinity Stones.
Yup.
So like, he literally is like that could have been the last piece that they needed to push them over to the Super Bowl. Why would you help another team do that for doing this, knowing how hard
teams don't think that way, man? That's not how front office.
But like, they're in your conference. Like, why are you making the rich richer? Is what I'm saying. I'm sorry, they got fleeced. And maybe this was the best offer that they had on the table, right?
That's what I think it is. I think
that's very possible that like this was the best offer they had. But I'm sorry, if you see a San Francisco area code or a Philadelphia area code, don't pick up the phone.
Philly, you can't.
They would never trade to Philly, right? They would never would. But I'm talking about GMs all around the league. Do not pick up the phone, because these guys are hustling every team in the league right now. I mean, my God, the Eagles, the way they have fleeced the Titans for 2 of their better players,
is
insane.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. I think Washington made the right move, and maybe that's a misjudgment. But they have butchered so many times. They have butchered not re-signing players and signing players that have flopped and not worked out. So I think this is a way to sort of get back to. And you do make a good point, Carlos. They have not drafted well historically. There's no question about that. But you have a new regime in charge, and they'll figure out.
Yeah, but
new ways
that new owner was busy today. He trades James Harden, and
Yeah.
then he trades two of his better players on his football team. He was busy. He was busy.
It
It's
makes
the business. It's just how it
it
goes.
makes everything all the more interesting New Year's Eve when the 49ers travel to FedEx Field. So,
How
That's
much you want to
true.
bet?
Like, and that's
Chase
another
Young?
thing. You guys still have to play them.
yep.
It's
So,
true.
and even more reason, why are you trading him to somebody you're going to have to play?
Mm-hmm. But just looking on the other end, looking at this 49ers defense with Chase Young, that it just looks picture perfect right there.
I mean, but so yeah, that's great and all, but they are still missing. Their secondary is still not all that great. Obviously, I don't have much room to talk smack about the 49ers considering what they did to my team, but one of their weaknesses and one of the things that I thought they were going to address and maybe trade for the cornerback from Chicago, which was in the cards, but it ultimately didn't happen. Their secondary is it's not great. It's not the best. It's mid. It's the best. They're not terrible, but it's mid. So, and like you can pass on them. We've seen Kirk Cousins do it. We saw Joe Burrow light them up.
That's
so
right.
it's like, yeah, they can get all the defensive line talent that they want, but with certain quarterbacks, Dak Prescott,
It's not going to matter.
It's not going to matter,
Yeah.
because the 49ers are the Cowboys' kryptonite. So, but like
And-
against a team like Philly, against a team who has one of the best offensive lines, a team like the Bengals, who Joe Burrow's super quick with getting rid of the ball. Having all these great defensive monsters it's not going to necessarily help, but I mean, what I like about the 49ers is that they're always making moves. Like no matter what, they're just accumulating talent. They traded for Randy Gregory earlier, a couple weeks ago, and now they get Chase Young. You already have Nick Bosa. They have two of the better linebackers in the league. Like this defense is good. Like they're set. And I think they definitely needed to make a change, especially with this 3-game losing streak that they're on. I think they did need to make a splash. Okay. Kind of reinvigorate everybody. And now it's truly Super Bowl or bust, because if they don't make the Super Bowl with this roster, I mean, yeah.
Got some questions there. Yeah. Got some questions there.
So let me throw something else before I want to just briefly touch on a few more trade deadline stuff. But with these two trades Washington made, people are saying throughout social media, and I want to get your thoughts on this. I'm hearing some stuff out there saying that Washington's folding. They're just starting to tank. Do you see that?
It's too
not
late.
It's
too late for tanking. And
no.
I don't know if that was true. If you guys were folding, then
you would Terry McLaurin. They do something. With
they would have already kicked. They would have already sent Terry McLaurin packing. They would have already sent.
They would have sent some other.
They would have. You guys would have had a huge fire sale, and you guys just got rid of two players that everybody kind of expected you guys to get rid of that were already like in the rumor mill. The 49ers one just surprised everybody because nobody saw the 49ers as one of the teams looking at Chase Young.
Mm-hmm. Tanking is what the Texans did last year. That's tanking. I mean, when you're trying to get that number 1 overall pick, Washington's not doing that.
Yeah.
I think people are idiotic who say that. No, I mean, if we know someone personally who said that, I apologize, but check your head, please, because like that's not tanking.
I mean, it wouldn't be. I mean, I guess.
Just out looking to the rest of the season with this team.
They're selling, but they're not tanking.
I guess. I mean, just looking at the rest of the season for this Commanders.
I think what you can call this is a soft reboot is the best thing. The best way to say it. It's a soft reboot. It's like more of like it's a soft. it's a soft rebuild, right? Like you guys are getting rid of certain assets to kind of help. Not that way. Obviously, because Commanders fans have been through it, they're trying not to make it as painful as possible. Where you guys will still be mildly successful, but it just won't be like playoffs and stuff yet. They're still going to build, and then hopefully they stumble upon, maybe. I don't know your thoughts on Sam Howell. I don't know if you think he's the guy. I can't tell you if he is or not.
Yet to be determined.
But I think that maybe they're just kind of biding their time right now and just trying to see like what they can, I think they're just assessing, trying to figure out where they want to go with how to build this team.
Yeah. And I think that's part of what a new ownership group wants to do too. They want to go into the draft with all these draft picks. They want to have an opportunity to start with a clean slate. They want to take the best players available, which is something that Washington hasn't always done. I don't know if that's their draft strategy or not. It changes team to team, but they also want to make sure they have salary cap, where they can go out and they can sign 2 or 3 big names in the offseason. I think they're setting themselves up for that now, and I think it's a smart strategy. I really do. I think Washington for too long has not done that. They haven't done a good job of looking towards the future necessarily in a lot of cases, and it's come back to bite them. I think it's a good thing here to sort of not a rebuild towards the future, but like Carlos said, a soft reboot or like a soft rebuild for the next couple of seasons. And to make sure first of all, you surround Sam Howell with a better offensive line. That's got to be the first thing you do this offseason, whether it's free agency and the draft. But he's getting killed out there, man. They've got to do something to protect him. And if he's going to be the franchise quarterback, which again, I said it before, I don't know if he is. It comes and goes. It's just hard to tell. So if he is your guy, though, you have to protect him. And I think they're going to have to protect whoever the quarterback is next year, if it's Sam Howell or someone else. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
All right. So real quick, so some other notable moves.
Yeah.
The Bills trade for Packers cornerback Rasul Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the Vikings make a move at QB and trade for Josh Dobbs.
Good move.
Move the needle for you guys?
Well, Josh Dobbs, he's gotten some experience. I'm not going to say he's good, but he's going to be serviceable for the time being.
I agree.
For the Minnesota Vikings.
I agree.
Backup. So yeah,
because
games for that team, I think.
Because the Vikings, obviously, it's crushing Kirk Cousins with an Achilles, but I feel so bad for him. And the next day, he was out signing autographs. I think at the facility, the Vikings did some
stand-up guy.
Yes, he is. I just really feel bad for him. That's the way.
Yeah. Obviously, I've bashed Kirk Cousins multiple times on this podcast.
Yes.
But seeing him go down,
especially
because he was starting to he was playing some of the best football I've ever seen him play, especially against the 49ers. He was incredible. It really does suck to see that, especially him being 35 and everything. I'm pretty sure he'll probably do the Aaron Rodgers surgery and he'll be back sooner than, rather than later. And who knows? I mean, this was a contract year for him, possibly a blessing in disguise where he might finally find his way to San Francisco and be with Kyle Shanahan the way they've always wanted to. So the 49ers might get even more powerful next season. They might finally get that last Infinity Stone if they don't win a Super Bowl this year.
That's a great point. I hadn't even thought of that, but yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think it sucks to see Kirk Cousins go down like that.
This year's definitely going to be defined by Achilles injuries. I feel like there's been so many this year.
Yeah. More than
normal.
Remember more than I can ever remember.
I think it's much more noticeable because it's happening to a lot of high-profile players right now,
especially quarterbacks. Well, you've had, of course, Rodgers and Kirk Cousins, and usually the Achilles is like a defensive player will tear an Achilles or something because that's just the nature.
It feels like that's more of a basketball injury. I don't remember that happening that much in football the way it is right now.
Yeah, no, not to this extent. It's pretty crazy. But I do think Josh Dobbs is a very serviceable quarterback. And look, the Vikings have the weapons. I think if you plug him into this offense, they're not going to be a high scoring offense necessarily, but they could be pretty decent.
I don't know. I mean, they like you said, they have they have obviously Jordan Addison was really starting to come on here. They're gonna get Justin Jefferson back here soon once he is able to come off of IR. I mean, and Josh Dobbs, he's a really smart guy. He's like you said, he's a solid backup quarterback. He's been playing relatively well down in Arizona. Like he's been giving this team chances, in games.
They've been close in most of the games.
Yeah, and a lot of the games they were close, and it's a lot because of his play. So I'm just wondering if you give this guy an actual good weapons around him, because obviously his last two stops were Tennessee and Arizona, where they don't necessarily have the best weapons in the world. They have some weapons, but not the best. But now you're going to give him, Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson, and Jordan Addison.
Addison, yes,
yeah.
Correct.
Like they have a pretty decent, offensive line that, it's not the best, but, it's serviceable. Like, it'll be interesting to see what he can do here, do in Minnesota. I am kind of excited to see that, especially because like I had no idea who Minnesota's backup quarterback was.
me either.
But other than that, I think the only notable move, it's blanking me.
Covered the big ones.
What's his name? Guy from the Jets or Giants?
Oh, Leonard Williams.
Yes, Leonard Williams. Thank you.
Yeah, but that trade was announced yesterday. Obviously that's a big move for Seattle to make. Just because I think them seeing that San Francisco's on a 3-game skid, I think they really think, they still have their 2 games against the 49ers to go. I think they think they have a legitimate shot at this division. So I think they're kind of going for it right now.
But other than that, I think that's pretty much it for the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of the really high profile running backs. Obviously, it was announced last week that a lot of those, especially Derrick Henry, that they weren't going to be moved. So that was kind of disappointing. But
Derrick Henry, there was now it's kind of been clarified that it's not true, but there was a rumor out there that the Titans and the Ravens had a deal in place that they were going to go through with it, but then the Titans owner vetoed it. Apparently that's not true. But could you imagine how that would have been like if that deal would have came through? And then obviously there's a lot of talk of him coming to Dallas. I never thought that was going to happen. I didn't see Jerry Jones forking up that much draft capital, especially considering Dallas does not have their 4th, 5th, or 6th round picks in the draft. So they weren't going to really be they just don't have the draft capital to have made moves as much as the fan base wanted them to. And Kansas City did not make any moves either, but they're cap strapped right now. Like they're down bad on cap. So it was going to be hard for them to make any kind of trade for a number 1 receiver or a number 2 receiver for Patrick Mahomes. So
it seems like a lot of teams are in that space too, where that's why I think there weren't a lot of big splashy moves, because like a lot of teams are.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the media and the fans hype the trade deadline
always,
and I think the NBA
wild scenarios. Yeah, the
NBA has done this where the NBA trade deadline is usually just crazy. There's moves happening all the time.
Yeah.
And fans are trying to make the NFL like that, but the NFL is more restrictive on how you can move. I mean, if you like, honestly, a lot of these big high-profile moves that people wanted to make were going to have to be done the day prior, because a lot of them would have to have their contracts restructured. So we were going to, if they were going to be done, we were going to hear about them yesterday, not today.
Yep.
Exactly. Good point.
With that being said, that wraps up the trade deadline, but wait, there is so much more as we get into our teams coming up next on the Kirby on Sports podcast. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Whoa, welcome back. That was my lame attempt at
To copy Carlos, what Carlos did at the end
Go out
of
on a break. I infuse a little
Halloween
spirit, and then what does Kirby do? As he normally does, he swagger jacks and takes anybody's joke, anybody's bit.
Well, welcome back to the Kirby on Sports podcast. I'm joined by the legendary weapon Dan Dembski and the legendary Swiss Army knife Carlos Martinez. We are back. It's now time to talk about our teams around the NFL, how they did. So let's get started with the Baltimore Ravens, if you will.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Dan, the Baltimore Ravens, they looked pretty good in a big win against the Arizona Cardinals. Just take me through what you really liked out of your
Take us through your emotions, Dan, because you were a little dramatic, is the best way to put it.
Yeah,
when the game first started.
Yeah, so I think it was
I hate this team. I hate this team.
Expected the defense to come out and play a little bit better than they did to start the football game. So yes, in our group chat, I was very upset the first 2 or 3 drives.
Now you know how
I'm gonna tell you this because I love you. You need to chill. You need to chill out sometimes because it was just like the game had just started, dude, and you were already like, I hate this team. This is why I can't trust this team.
Oh my God.
Dude, the game just started. Kansas City's getting their butts kicked right now, and I'm not freaking out.
Yep. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I was very frustrated with how easily the Cardinals made moving the football against our defense look. But, I think we settled in just fine. Okay, that was weird.
Just let it go.
Okay. I think they settled in just fine. We were able to do enough in this game to win, and I although I think obviously the scoreboard shows a 7-point win, but the game really wasn't that close at the end. I think the officiating totally hosed the Ravens on that touchdown call where I think forward progress was stopped at like the 3. And it must have been like 7 seconds, and they kept pushing, and finally whoever it was scored. I don't remember who it was specifically, but so that touchdown really didn't mean anything to me because it was like, okay, that the officials gave them that touchdown. But yeah, my thoughts in general, I mean, I I think it was fine. It's tough in the NFL. I mean, you look at the other team's record, the Cardinals at 1-7. I mean, they've been pretty competitive in a lot of these games.
They beat the Cowboys.
They crushed. Didn't they? Did they dominate the Cowboys? Was that the one game?
They definitely. I want to say dominate, but I'm
trying to remember back.
They beat us from start to finish.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like domination. It wasn't like Dallas was like. It's not like we got blown out.
28-16. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess they really haven't. Well, they
played the 49ers pretty good.
Yeah, and they lost to the Giants.
They're a scrappy team. That's what they are.
Yeah, I think so. So obviously I was frustrated with how they were moving the football against our defense, but I felt like we settled in just fine. I do have some concerns with our secondary, but I think we're going to be okay. Our pass rush wasn't as on point as it had been, although Michael Pierce was pretty much manhandling their offensive line. It's just crazy. He had a hell of a game getting after Josh Dobbs and getting into the backfield and stopping the run. So, it's as slow of a start as I thought we had in that game because it was 7-7 forever. And I was like, oh my God, this game is just, it's first it was going by quickly. And second of all, it was like, can we move the ball? Because our offense struggled too for the first and part of the second quarter as well. And then I think we finally settled in. But, I don't have any concerns. I think we did enough to win this game. This is a game we had to win. I think expectations for fans are in this situation when it's a 6-2 team or a 5-2 team at the time going up against a 1-win team, you expect to go out there and just crush them. But this is the NFL. I mean, just to win is important. I don't think you can harp too much on the final score or how dominating
a win is a
or
win.
how dominating your team played. So I'm happy with it. I felt like Lamar played okay. Just the one touchdown pass, but no turnovers was big. Was really happy with how Gus Edwards ran the football. I think we need to get him the ball more because really it wasn't until the second half that we finally started utilizing him more in our offense, which I think is a big mistake. I think we need to start. I don't know why it is, but the Ravens came out and just were so pass heavy in the first half. And, my dad and I were watching the game and we were like, just run the football. Like this is what the Ravens have done in the past. Just run the football. And that opens up the passing game. And then I felt like in the third quarter, we're finally starting to heed, I'm sure, not only the advice of us, but many other fans who were watching that game as well. So, but yeah, I think defensively it got a little close there at the end. But like I said, I think that last touchdown was a little ridiculous. You have to they have to recover that first onside kick. I mean, that was pathetic.
A little dicey at the end. Made it a little dicey.
Little pathetic. I mean,
that's the Nathan Aguilar experience, to be honest. Like that's the experience you're gonna get with him.
He just stood there. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, jump for the ball. Like, there was no aggression. There was no aggression. But
it's okay. He made up for it on the second.
Yeah, they kicked it right to him on the second one. It was so funny. They targeted him for sure. But really, I mean, in general, I'm happy with the win. It is what it is. We got the job done. It's a win in the National Football League. This season has been full of upsets, and I know we're going to talk about one of those upsets that happened this weekend. Of course,
we are halfway through the season, and I still feel like I know nothing.
And every week, what you think you know is you don't know.
Just throw it out the window.
It's like true. Like I
prove you wrong.
There's no trends. Like you can't be like, oh yeah, for sure. Like this is the strangest year of football. I want to say
it really has been. There is no team where you're like, oh yeah, Super Bowl favorite for sure.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like we have the usual suspects, but like even the usual suspects don't look like
the usual suspects.
Yeah, like they don't look like themselves. So it's just like I don't even know what to think of this season yet. Like usually by now we usually can pick up on a trend. By now, last season we were like, yeah, the Eagles, sure, they have a cupcake schedule this year, but they look really good. But like
they do. Man. But even still, they've had some moments too.
Yeah, well, like this year, like this year, it's still the same thing. It's like, yeah, the Eagles are good, but they don't look the same as last year. They look very shaky. But we'll get to them later.
Yeah, and I think in general, I'm happy with the win. I know I was going off there for a bit. I need to calm down. It's also watching the game with my dad. I sort of
Being
feed
too
off.
loud.
I feed off.
I was like, uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Okay,
Please
my Taylor
stop.
Swift. That's my Taylor Swift
Please
reference
stop.
today.
Oh my god.
Oh, shut up, Kirby. Mister, I try to force putting in the Taylor Swift references. At least mine came in naturally.
He puts it in the group chat all the time. Taylor Swift.
More than the actual Swiftie of the group. Me.
Yes. Yeah, we're calling him out now. It's good.
Well,
we got to keep him in his place.
Yep, absolutely.
Remind him of his tendencies. Yeah, but I think in general, I'm happy with the performance. The offense needs to have a better start. That's the biggest thing I'd say. They just looked out of sync, and it kind of went back to their early season struggles, with Lamar not being able to connect with the receivers and vice versa. And I don't know. They just look disjointed a little bit to start the game, but they finally stepped it up. And, it helps when you have a great defense on the other side. They put a lot of weight on the defensive shoulders, not only in this game, but in every game they've had this year. So there's going to come to a point where the offense is going to have to step up and really come out of the gates hot. It's bound to happen eventually here. I feel like they're close to breaking through, but we'll see what happens with the Ravens. I'm very happy with where they are right now, where they sit in the AFC, especially because, as we just mentioned, it's kind of a lot of unknowns in our division as well. It's like we know Cincinnati's going to make a run. You never know week to week what you're going to get from Pittsburgh. Cleveland is not great, but they can be an under the radar team. So I'm happy in general with the Baltimore Ravens. I hope they continue to win football games, because this is the hardest part of their schedule coming up too. They got some very, very tough games coming up here in the short term. I know next week we have Seattle. That's at home. That's not going to be an easy game.
It's going to be an exciting game, though.
It's going to be exciting, not easy, but exciting.
And then followed by Cleveland.
Because of our announcement later.
Oh, yeah.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
But that's all I got, boys.
No notes.
Yep, you covered it all. That was Dan on the Ravens. We'll be back in a minute, 15 seconds, and we'll be back with more.
Hey, sports fans. Thank you for listening to and supporting the Kirby on Sports podcast with founder and host Josh Kirby, along with lead contributor Dan Dembski. Like, subscribe, and give them a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcast from. My name is Dr. Dave Miles, founder of Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation. Our company helps leaders build engaged and productive teams. Exclusively for listeners of the Kirby on Sports podcast, you can take an opportunity to discover your primary communication style and learn more about effective communication with others. Text Kirby to 757-903-0743 for your free copy of the Working From Home Communication Assessment, where you'll learn your primary communication style, how to better communicate with others not like you, and tips on working remotely based on your personal communication style. 10 minutes, tons of resources. Learn about yourself and your team. Again, text Kirby to 757-903-0743 for your free assessment report today. I'm Dr. Dave Miles, founder of Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, where we help you and your team be more engaged and productive by understanding each other better. Back to you, Josh.
Back with you on... Oh, you scared me. Woo! Halloween.
That's kind of like Stay Off the Weed, but the Halloween version.
Yeah, but anyways, welcoming you back to the Kirby on Sports podcast. It's now time to talk about two teams. The Dallas Cowboys' absolute domination over the Rams, and
nice Carlos.
The Broncos beating the Kansas City Chiefs. The Broncos won and Taylor Swift lost.
Trick or treat. That was trick.
He wasn't even at the game. You see, this is
what
I'm talking about. He forces the references, and then he doesn't even do them right.
Carlos, take it away, buddy.
Okay, well, I don't know which one. Who do you guys want to start with? You guys want to start with Cowboys, or do you guys want to start with Chiefs?
Chiefs.
Chiefs it is.
I'm curious. I I guess Patrick Mahomes just was
No, so obviously late, literally the day of it comes out or the night before the game, injury report comes out, and Patrick Mahomes is listed on the injury report with an illness. He had gotten the flu, and you know, those of us that have, pretty sure all of us have experienced the flu. You know, having the flu sucks. It's not a good time, and you know, people were expecting him to have his like Michael Jordan flu game, which by the way,
It's a
it
hefty
wasn't the flu.
expectation.
Michael Jordan didn't even have the flu. He had food poisoning. Much different thing comparatively.
I thought he was hungover, but that's just
Yeah. So, yeah, you know, to have the flu, you could tell, you could see him. He was not himself. He was not 100%, and the team just was flat, man. I think they were I think that they might have been overlooking the Broncos. I think that they were thinking that it was just going to be a simple walk-in. I mean, here's how I know that. Here's why I think they were. Look at what the players were doing prior to the game. Game 1 of the World Series is in Texas. Travis Kelce's there. Why is Travis Kelce in Texas on a game week?
Yeah, that was disturbing. Or not
yeah, I
disturbing,
didn't understand why he was there.
Mhm.
It made no sense. Sure, we got the cute moment of him, you know, partying after the game, which again, another thing that's making me think, oh, they weren't taking the Broncos seriously at all.
Yeah.
You know, and him, you know, taking a selfie video of himself and someone recording him taking the selfie video of him singing Taylor Swift's Love Story, and he probably sent it to her. So there was that, and then Friday night, Patrick Mahomes is at the Sporting Kansas City MLS playoff game. It's like, dude, you have a game in 48 hours. Why are you there? And then, of course, then he has the flu. So, and he said the worst symptoms were the night before the game. So, you know, he didn't get good rest. You know, I really think that the Kansas City Chiefs just thought that they were just going to go into Denver and win like they always do. I mean, they had won 16 times in a row. Why would it be any different? They definitely didn't take the Broncos seriously in this game, and it showed. They looked very unprepared, and they could have also just been looking ahead to this trip to Germany coming up against the Miami Dolphins, and they probably were just like, look, we might also not want to really expend ourselves here, and we can afford to lose this game. Honestly, most of the issues were on offense. I think the defense still played spectacular. I think that they played great. I mean, they held. I mean, if this was like a true blowout, like the Broncos would have put up much more points. But the defense kept Kansas City in the game. There were plenty of opportunities for Kansas City to win, and they just didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, and for Denver, I mean, look, that was a great, you know,
good win.
Good performance. They didn't have a fire sale like everybody was saying they were. So it looks like they're going to keep a lot of their pieces.
Crazy.
And I think, yeah, you just got to give Sean Payton some time here to implement this. But I mean, in all honesty, like, it's not like, you know, they like completely, you know, dominated the Chiefs here. You know, it's just,
I don't expect it to be a trend either. I
like
to go back to their losing ways.
And that's why you didn't see me freaking out about this game, because to me, like, the Chiefs are going to be okay. There's some, there is some, like, you know, there's some things that they definitely got to address here, especially when it comes to staying focused. You know, obviously I understand there's this whole whirlwind of media attention coming because of, you know, the whole Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift thing. On top of that, being regarded as the best franchise in the league, being the defending Super Bowl champs. I understand there's all this attention and all these opportunities for you, but you have to stay focused on the goal here. And the goal is to try to bring another Lombardi trophy, you know, to Arrowhead.
Yeah.
But so they definitely have to address that. Again, obviously they're going to Munich this week. I don't know if they've already left yet. I know the Dolphins are already over there. So I'm wondering how long it'll be until Kansas City goes. I haven't seen anything for them yet, but yeah, I mean, a rough outing for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. The offensive line looked terrible. Travis Kelce did not have his best game. Further, you know, driving the narrative that he only plays well when Taylor Swift is there. Listen, we can't let that become a narrative, because it's not like she's going to be coming to much more games. She's going to start her international leg of her tour here. Here, actually, within the next week, she'll start her Argentina dates.
Yeah,
so
she will probably not come to any more regular season.
She'll probably still come to a cup because, as you guys know, I'm a Swiftie, so I'm in the know. I'm in the know. There are certain games that are on dates where she doesn't have a concert or like around it at all. So she might be able to come. And a lot of them are in Kansas City. So we'll see.
It would be interesting to have her in because I mean, it definitely people tune in to see that. You can say whatever you want, but
they do. Obviously,
she brings eyeballs to the
game. Ratings have been through the roof, and obviously, she's the biggest pop star in the world. But let's, to focus more on the Chiefs here. Like Travis Kelce does need to play better, and obviously he's been playing good. But like in a game like this, also the NFL lied to us. All the NFL insiders lied to us, meteorologists. They were claiming,
"Oh yeah, it snowed during the game."
There was not a single lick of snow on the ground. Those damn liars!
It was
liars.
It was all the night before, basically. Yeah, the timing was all wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I guess when they say that 5 days before the game, you can't believe it because the weather models
constantly changes.
They change like every 12 hours, so
yeah,
it's hard to know. As little meteorology inside there for you. So
those are my thoughts on the Chiefs. There's nothing more to really
good
say.
Win. It was good win for the Broncos.
Good win for the Broncos.
I was kind of happy for them. I know I've crapped on them a lot, but
I'm just
sort of happy for them.
It does suck to see these streaks end. The streak of games
bound to happen.
Patrick Mahomes having touchdown pass, games, the 16 game winning streak.
The winning streak, yeah. That's
and the Patrick Mahomes being undefeated on the road against AFC West teams, like that's gone now. But obviously it was bound to happen. In all honesty, when I was running my simulation of the seasons, I would always have Denver winning one of the two games.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not. That's why I'm not surprised with Denver winning. But Kansas City, we got to get it together here because. There's some tough opponents. We got Miami coming up. You still got Buffalo. You still got Cincinnati. The 6th annual Arrowhead Invitational is awaiting us. So, but we got to get there. We got to get that 1 seed so it happens. I do have one gripe with one player. We got to stop with the Sky Moore stuff. Sky Moore's got to come off the field. He is just not an NFL receiver. I'm sorry.
Agreed.
He's terrible. He can't find the ball in the air. He's just not great. And Marquez Valdes-Scantling, come on, dude. Like you're an 8-year veteran, dude. Like why does Patrick Mahomes have to be yelling at you to come back to the ball? Like why? That's something you learn in Pee Wee football. Like what are we doing here?
MVS, baby, MVS.
It's the MVS experience, man.
Yeah.
So those are my two gripes. I don't know if you want to go on break or if you want me to just go straight into the Cowboys.
Let's hit it. The Dallas Cowboys with an all-around annihilation and domination of the Los Cowboys against the Los Angeles Rams. I just say all-around great team performance.
Yeah, look, look. Let's not blow this out of proportion. I want to preface this with, of course, look, this is what Dallas should do to teams like Los Angeles, and this is what they do. But now let's see it against the big dogs. Okay, we saw what happened against San Francisco. You guys got, they completely beat the brakes off of you. Okay. Now it's Philly week. Now we're going to see this is it. Okay. This is the big test. Okay. You guys match up very well against Philly compared to San Francisco. Against San Francisco, we do not match up well with San Francisco. Against Philly, we match up very well. Dak Prescott I don't think he's lost to Philly lately. I think he's since 2021, he's 3-0. Obviously, he missed the one game last year due to injury. And this is also the first time in a long time that Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott are going to go up against each other head to head. So all the pieces are there. We don't have any major injuries aside from the Diggs injury, but Deron Bland has been doing very well. So like this is it. This is the moment where you can prove yourselves. But back to this game, it started off rough, man. 3 of the first 5 plays were sacks. And I was starting to get frustrated, and then they turned it on, and the offense looked spectacular in this game. They definitely did their homework. That's all time though. But they definitely did their homework when it came to how to like things to do in this offense. Because going into the bye week, that was the biggest gripe, is this offense is painful to watch. It's not, Dak Prescott doesn't feel like himself. He looks very constrained. It's not creative. And then this one, man, they were throwing the deep ball. They were throwing all these crazy slant routes. It was a great offensive performance by the Cowboys. And then, yeah, man, that defense, I mean, that was a spectacular performance. Of course, like I said, Deron Bland has done a fantastic job replacing Trayvon Diggs. It's going to be great when Diggs comes back. Gilmore had a solid performance, which he normally does. He has a good performance where he's kind of quiet, or he's not going to be a name that you bring up, but like he does so well, and that's why you don't bring his name up. And yeah, man, just the defensive line was wrecking havoc again, and
they looked, yeah. They were back to their old.
I'm not going to let this game necessarily dictate how I feel about the Philly game. The Philly game scares me because Philly's just so good.
They're scary good.
And you got to remember, before the San Francisco game, the Cowboys dominated the Patriots.
That's right.
So it's like because they dominate the game prior to the big one,
the bad teams
does not tell.
Not as good teams.
And again, it's an away game. It's on natural grass, which is something that doesn't get brought up a lot, is that Dallas plays better at home because they're on turf. So on turf, you move faster. Although as many, we obviously all have gripes with turf in terms of injuries that it causes. Yeah. But obviously it's, you're much quicker on turf than you are on natural grass. Dallas does practice on natural grass. They always do. They try to practice on their natural grass field as much as possible, but it's not, it's different, it's not as bouncy, it's not as quick. And yeah, I mean, CeeDee Lamb was spectacular in this game. Jake Ferguson finally came alive, made that huge first touchdown catch. Brennan Aubrey, man, what a great kicker he has become. He's tied for the record for most consecutive field goals made to start a career. If he makes one more in Philadelphia, he has that record. But yeah, dude, the Dallas Cowboys looked spectacular, and the Rams, man, I don't know. Seeing Stafford go down kind of sucked. But at the same time, I guess this is kind of what we expected from the Rams. It's not like they're the world beaters they were a couple years ago when they won the Super Bowl. So,
yep.
But yeah, aside from that, props to Mike McCarthy and his play calling. That was great. Let's do more of that against Philly. And, let's get this win, because if Dallas wins against Philly, oh man, it's going to be tough for Philly to recover, because they're going to have a tough road ahead of them. And Dallas has like 3 easy games. They got the Giants, they got the Panthers, and then they got the Commanders on Thanksgiving. So pretty easy. I won't say easy wins, because anything can happen, especially with that.
NFL's weird. It's wet.
Yeah, but manageable games where the Dallas Cowboys realistically should win all those games.
Agreed.
So that was Carlos with the Dallas Cowboys, and when we come back, we'll talk about the Washington Commanders a little bit more after last week's loss to Philadelphia.
Hey, Kirby on Sports Podcast listeners, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here. It may seem scary or daunting at first to think about buying or selling a home. Well, look no further. Give me a call, 540-247-1527. There's nothing more than I love to do than help my friends make those transactions fun, interesting, and at the end of the day, productive. Look me up online, iconcells.com, and even better, find me on my podcast, Iconic Talk, with my co-host Megan Eanes on any podcast platform. We will share all the local news about real estate markets and our local community. It's educational. Look us up. We'd love to help you. iconcells.com, 540-247-1527.
Bedbugs. The only thing creepier than thinking about them is actually having them. Trust me, you don't want to have them. Locally owned and operated Barrett Pest and Termite Services can keep you from having bedbug nightmares and infestations. Call 540-340-3922 to schedule your free inspection and consultation. If bedbugs are already in your home, we'll get rid of them so you can rest easy. We also specialize in keeping homes and businesses free of other pests, including rodents and termites. That's Barrett Pest and Termite Services, 540-340-3922.
Welcoming you back to the Kirby on Sports podcast. Moving right along. Now, the next topic of discussion on our list of games is the Commanders falling to the Philadelphia Eagles once again, 38-31. I'm going to bring up something you just said earlier, Dan. The NFL is weird. Anything can happen. And from last week, seeing a Commanders team put up 7 points to the New York Giants, to this week leading the Eagles for most of the game.
Should have won, but
Should have, but they just couldn't hang in there.
But from 7 points last week to 31 this week, I was like, I don't know. Are the coaches just throwing the riot act at these players, saying, let's just go out, give it our all?
It's just a divisional game, man. Divisional games are so weird. And then, I don't know, man. It's just whenever the Commanders see Philadelphia on the other side of the field, you guys just play at a different level. It's so weird.
Look, the Commanders, obviously the late interception by Reed Blankenship pretty much sealed the deal there. But for the first 2 quarters, Sam Howell only threw 2 incompletions.
He was really good.
Something like that. It's the O-line still needs to be addressed. That's first and foremost. But still, Howell was getting the ball out substantially quicker than the week before in New York, which it helped tremendously.
It's been a big part of his problem, holding on to the football too long. The classic Ricky mistake and taking unnecessary hits, which he's had a lot of.
Run game was good. The receiving core, they looked pretty good, but towards the end, a couple wobbly passes.
They just ran out of gas, I think, is what happened.
Well, obviously we know what a good team Philly is. They came back and won even with 2 turnovers, but I will give credit to the Washington Commanders for stopping the tush push.
And then falling for the fake one.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but it was a fumble. I'm like, they're going to score here, but they fumbled the tush push. I'm like,
the brotherly shove.
It's not the tush push anymore. It's the brotherly shove now.
Yeah, the brotherly shove. But
it's got a lot of names.
So, geez. A loss like that.
Don't want to fire Ron Rivera? I would say probably should. But.
I don't think he gets fired during the season. I think he's going to get fired.
No, they're going to wait. They're going to wait.
There's some rumors that I've seen circulating around that behind closed doors they're discussing it. Ownership is discussing firing him, and
I'd be shocked if they did it.
And making Bieniemy the interim head coach and let it see how this team goes under him. But I don't know. I just don't think they do it in season. But I don't think he comes back next year. There's no shot.
But
he can't. Yeah.
This loss really was ripping. It was really painful.
I totally understand. Yeah.
It's like to fight that hard, and
they had it. It was their game to lose, and
it's these 2 games against the Eagles. You guys played fantastic in both of them, and realistically, in the first one, should have gone for the 2, should have gone for the win instead of overtime.
I disagree with that.
Ron
That's
Rivera,
okay.
Ron Rivera goes for overtime instead. And then in this one, you guys were leading for most of the way, and then you guys let AJ Brown and have it, and then again why is Ron Rivera so bad at challenging plays, man, and like not being knowledgeable? Like,
well, apparently he didn't see the replay.
that's what I'm saying. He's like, I didn't see. Well, why is somebody up? Why does he not have somebody upstairs?
That's why he's wearing the
leaning down his
headset,
ear,
right?
Challenge the
Nobody
play that
was
wasn't a
talking
catch.
to him.
Well, that's
what I'm
bad.
saying. He needs somebody in his ear being like,
That's a
that wasn't a catch. If he doesn't see the replay, then there should be somebody in the building somewhere who has seen the replay being like, throw the flag. That was not a catch.
That's coaching 101. I mean, if you don't have that, that's bad. That's just
because it wasn't a catch. If that were to get challenged, maybe we're talking about a Commanders win. But
maybe.
I mean,
maybe.
Maybe
it wouldn't have mattered, but at the end of the day, that there are certain plays in the game that are consequential.
That interception was one.
But ultimately, the Commanders just didn't get the job done, and you guys had the lead. You guys couldn't stop the Eagles from winning the game.
The secondary still looked bad,
but that's old news, man. We all knew that they looked bad.
And like letting Devontae Smith wide open for that touchdown pass.
That was the fact that AJ Brown and Devontae Smith should never be that wide open ever. Ever.
And that contested catch too with AJ Brown catching.
That was
but AJ Brown is
he's a beast.
Let me just say though. The Hurts to Brown connection in my fantasy league right now on fire.
Nobody cares about your fantasy, bro.
But still,
nobody
Hurts to Brown. I picked that up and after that sideline conversation, that's the prime connection, ladies.
Let's talk about the Commanders.
I think Kirby found his
bromance,
his second team.
No, absolutely
fly,
not.
Eagles fly.
No, we're not gonna talk about that. No, but anyways, just fantasy. It's fun to win in fantasy, but the Commanders had it. They let it go.
Don't do it, Dan. Don't do it.
I'm not saying it.
Don't do it.
I'm not saying anything.
Go on, Kirby. Go on.
The Commanders had it. They lost it, and
the pity party starts at 3 tomorrow.
Oh, the group chat. Oh my God. Oh, the Commanders suck. Blah blah. It's like here we
this
go.
team will never be good again. Dude, you just started the freaking process. Like, you literally have the owner.
Maybe this reboot won't work. Maybe this soft reboot will crash, and they'll have to do it again. Who knows?
It might.
They might, but you gotta ride it out.
Gotta ride it out.
Sticking through thick and thin, man. That's what being a fan's all about. I know you've stuck through a lot of bad moments, though.
Yeah.
Gotta be better ones coming.
I mean, the Commanders played well, but the loss really hurts. So, but if they
it was
can
the way
play
it was
that way,
it was the way it happened.
If they can play that way against teams like New England, they can probably get the job done next week. But again, overlooking your opponents, which I think might have been the case against the Giants.
You can't overlook anybody in this league. That's the problem.
Yeah,
no, because that's how you got.
And this year has proven that. Like, we've seen so many teams lose to teams they should have no business losing to.
Absolutely,
Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely,
but the 6th annual Arrowhead Invitational in jeopardy.
That's right.
But before we get to our next break here to get into the breeze around the NFL and our special announcement and the pick'ems, by the way,
we so much
as always.
Yeah, we do. We really got to breeze.
Yeah, we got to breeze. So
we got to breeze. But before we do that, got to thank our friends over at Don't Sleep Energy, the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast. They have a lot of new merch and drinks out on the World Wide Web right now. So check them out on Amazon or don'tsleepenergy.com. Use promo code KOS podcast for 12% off your order every single time. And we are back with the breeze around the league right after this.
Hi, this is Mark Peter Lynch with Guild Mortgage. One of the greatest joys in doing business over the last 30 years in the Shenandoah Valley is helping people buy their first home. Buying their first home and putting the keys in their hand at the closing table has brought me so much joy. If you want to buy your first home, a second home, or an investment property, or build wealth through investment in real estate, give me a call. My phone number is 540-664-4700, or you can find me on the World Wide Web at www.marksmortgage.com.
It's Matt from Shenandoah Music. Nobody wants to hear this, but Christmas is just around the corner. You could wait to start shopping while everything sells out, or you could come into Shenandoah Music for our pre-Black Friday sale. From October 26th through the 31st, we're taking 20% off Fender American Pro guitars, 10% off Ibanez hollow body electric guitars, 30% off student band instruments, and more. And use the Shenandoah Music credit card to buy now and pay later. So when you think music, think Shenandoah Music in Winchester across from B-Dubs.
We are back. It's time to breeze around the NFL. Gentlemen, are we ready?
Listen, Kirby, if we say skip the game, okay?
All right, let's start from the top.
That's right.
Let's start from the very top. The Titans defeating the Falcons and Taylor Heineke coming in for
That's not the
Desmond
top.
Ridder.
That wasn't the first game.
What's up?
That's not the first game.
Well, according to CBS Sports.
Bills, Bucks.
Yeah, Bills and Bucks was the first
Thursday night.
Oh, yes. Shoot, I'm sorry. The Bills over the Bucks 24-18.
Yep, no, I'm just kidding.
That's what you get for using CBS Sports.
Yeah, but Mayfield 237, 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen 324. And
September champs are back, baby. Let's go.
5-3, winning record.
I mean, they
all the way to November,
they
baby.
played the Bucks.
The Bucks.
Hey,
Bucks
a
are
win is a win,
bad.
bro. A win is a win. That Super Bowl banner, it's gonna be real.
September champs again, 3 years in a row.
There
Back
we
to
go.
back.
3 years in a row.
So Titans, Falcons. Will Levis played. He looked pretty good with 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Taylor Heineke coming in relief. Yeah, the legend of Taylor Heineke almost showed in this game.
Oh my God! Quit it with the bromance with Heineke already. Come
He
on.
misses Heineke. It's okay. Sam Howell is just another version of Heineke.
That's exactly what he is. Yeah. Yeah, Levis was great.
Levis looked good, dude. He
Very good.
That first touchdown pass to DeAndre Hopkins was
a dot.
Man, that was a dot, and the way he stepped up, he looked confident. He looked good. He looked good.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Let's
say
see what happens Thursday night, but he looked good.
yeah. I'm gonna pump the brakes until we get more of a sample size. But
I'm not saying
No, I know. I'm not saying
that's
you are.
weird.
I'm saying
saying-
that. I'm saying
I'm just
social
saying-
media. Social media loves him all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. Listen, I can never trust the man who puts mayo in his coffee.
Oh,
but
it's a sin. It's illegal.
God, white people shit.
It is. It really is. Can't deny it.
But no, look, he looked good. He looked great. The Titans looked much better with him.
Much needed energy on their side.
Yeah, and a class act for him to kind of call out the fans for booing Malik Willis. As much as I don't like Malik Willis as a quarterback, that's kind of a dirty thing to do to a player,
especially a guy who really hasn't had a chance and has been
who's still developing. I mean,
Still developing.
like Malik Willis wasn't a developed product coming out of Liberty. That's why it made no sense why he was such a huge prospect. But
agreed.
that's besides the point. Who cares?
Falcons. Nothing to say about the Falcons, really.
All right, moving on. The Panthers get their first win of the season.
Yeah.
The Jags over the Steelers 20-10.
Yeah, this was a good one for the Jags. They needed it.
And Kenny Pickett hurt.
And boy, was I happy that the Steelers lost. But yeah, it is tough for them to lose Kenny Pickett.
The refs were way too involved in this game.
Yeah, there was some really
Very
bad
questionable calls. Very questionable calls.
There was some across the NFL. Every week
officiating just as a whole has been
it's
god
been
awful.
bad. It's been
god
really
awful.
bad. Maybe we need robot referees in the NFL now, like they have in
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking? Minor league baseball. They have the robot.
The robot umps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I agree with Carlos. The Steelers got hosed a little bit, but I mean, this
At the
team
same
was-
time, they had Mitch Trubisky in at quarterback. They were never going to win.
I couldn't think of his name. I knew he sucked. I couldn't think of his name, but yeah, thank you, Mitch Trubisky.
The Vikings over the Packers 24-10. Kirk Cousins out for the season.
Yeah, it sucks for Kirk Cousins. We talked about it at the top. But, good win for Minnesota.
For the Vikes.
Hopefully Dobbs can keep it going.
Agreed.
Dolphins over the Patriots 31-17.
Yeah, this wasn't even a contest.
Yeah, there's nothing to really
Just
say.
a
here.
total mismatch on
Shout out
the
to
field.
Jalen Ramsey, though, coming back, having a pick six.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Just gets the Dolphins even better. It's really they're a scary team. They are a scary team.
Saints over the Colts 38-27.
Good for Derek Carr, I guess.
Minshew has been in a lot of boat races lately.
Mhm.
I agree with that. A lot of close games for the Colts.
But, like a lot of high-scoring close games.
Yeah.
He's had to do almost too much, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I agree.
You've asked him to do way too much, and he just can't.
But he always he for the most part always answers the call though. So
He's played well. I mean, he really has.
I mean, like last year went to it was a tight contest with the Cowboys when he had to start because Jalen got hurt. I mean, yeah,
he's a solid quarterback.
he's a solid backup.
Quarterback.
I still wouldn't start. He's more of a relief pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Good to have on the roster for sure.
The New York Jets over the Giants in overtime.
Nobody cares. Move
This
on. Way to
game
watch it,
Is
Giants.
a disgrace to football. It was terrible football. No one should have won that
And
game.
the
It should have
fact that
ended
the
in a
Jets
tie.
won is unbelievable. Move
Giants
on.
gave it away.
Move
Well,
on.
I will say I hope Tyrod heals up.
Oh
for
my
his
God!
next
Nobody cares.
opportunity.
Tyrod.
Shut
his-
up about
his
Tyrod
annual
already.
trip-
He
his
stinks.
annual rib
stinks.
injury.
He
I guess they
stinks.
found the doctor again.
Punctured the old lung. Oh man.
The Seahawks over the Browns 24-20.
Good win for the
Yeah.
Seahawks.
Yeah.
Great
Good
win.
win. This
Again-
was a close game. Very close
Again,
game.
No Deshaun Watson though. So what are we doing here? Where's the inside scoop? What's going on?
PJ Walker's gotten better through the weeks, though. I will say.
Absolutely, I agree.
PJ Walker. I mean, again, PJ Walker beat the 49ers.
He's a
but
decent backup quarterback. He's
Yeah.
a decent backup quarterback.
pretty
That's what
good.
he is.
Pretty good.
And I hate Deshaun Watson, so don't let me comment on him, please.
We've already discussed.
Yep.
We'll move on.
The Bengals upsetting the 49ers.
Was it really an
31-17.
upset though? Was it really? I mean, I know
They've been trending
49ers
downward. Yeah, they've been trending downward here recently.
Yeah, the 49ers have not been good lately. Brock Purdy, possibly a pumpkin now. The Cinderella story
It's
might
true.
be over. We'll see what happens. I mean, look, we can't write the 49ers off, obviously, especially with the moves they just made. But man, dude, the Bengals, it's happening again. They start the season off slow, and then they start to come on.
Picking it up now.
Absolutely.
And it makes me so damn scared to face that team because now they got a fully healthy Joe Burrow who can get out of getting sacked 4 times on one play. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was just insane.
Yeah, he looked good.
insane.
He looked good. Jamar Chase is on it again. T. Higgins is getting healthier every week.
They're a scary team. They're a scary team.
man.
And yeah, the 49ers have got to figure something out. I mean, it's just
Well,
whatever.
luckily they're on the bye, so they get to quickly,
They have too many weapons to be playing the way they played the last 2 or 3 weeks, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So
The Chargers over the Bears 30-13.
Nobody cares. Don't even bring him up. Let's just move on.
Not even
Nope.
Tyson
Skip.
Bagent.
I don't care.
Well,
he was bad. I mean, well, no, he wasn't that bad. But
listen, I will say this, and this isn't about the game. Everybody was talking about his journey, which was just very cool to see.
yes, because it's never freaking happened before.
I know
barely.
it's great. It's awesome. But did you hear what Chris Collinsworth said beforehand?
I pretty much
I did
mute
not
him
watch
most
the
of the
game.
time.
All right.
What did he say?
Well, he was saying, could this be a big win for Tyson Bagent, or are we just having fun out here on Sunday night or something like that? And I was like, oh my gosh, what did he say?
That was the memorable quote you had to tell us.
Well, yeah, it was something Chris
Not that he
Collinsworth
says
would
pass
say.
rush every time he says pass rush.
Okay, and last but not least, chopping kneecaps, 26-14. The Lions over the Raiders.
Where did you get chopping? They're biting off kneecaps. They don't
Biting off, chopping them kneecaps.
Jesus. Shout out to the Lions, though. Great performance on Monday night. Devontae
Yeah.
Adams was very frustrated, and it sucks that
Absolutely.
he's stuck there. Hopefully,
That's
he can
where
get
he wanted to play. I mean, come on, that's where he wanted to be traded.
Well, look,
though.
I mean, look, true. I mean,
but it was
that is 30
before.
ago.
It was when they had a different quarterback.
Yeah, and it was when they were a lot better of a team, and now they're just not. It's just not it, man.
They're just bad. I mean, they're straight up bad. Jimmy Garoppolo is horrendously bad.
He's bad, but yet he's like good at the same time. It's weird because like he's had so much success.
He's so streaky. Yeah, you just don't know.
It's just like you just never know what type of Jimmy Garoppolo you're gonna get. But
And no touchdowns in this game for Jimmy G.
Or
but hey,
1 catch, 11 yards. Terrible.
At least he's still good looking. He's got that going for him. So
Yeah,
he's one handsome son of a bitch.
He's handsome as hell.
So that concludes the breeze around the league.
That was good.
But I forgot to mention one thing
Oh God.
that I'll throw in briefly.
Oh God.
No, briefly. In that Commanders-Eagles game, shout out to Hokies Joey Sly, though, nailing
Dude,
a
enough with the Hokies, dude. You didn't even
1
You
yard.
didn't even go to Virginia Tech. You're not even a Virginia Tech alum.
I went there.
This is the Virginia Tech alum, and he doesn't bring up Virginia Tech alums more than you do. You literally put in the group message when he made the field goal, Joey Sly, go Hokies. It's like, why are you saying go Hokies? You didn't go to Virginia Tech.
And I do like Joey Sly. He's a great player.
I
But
like
why
Jeff
why bring it up now? Why not talk about it during while you're talking about the Commanders?
It was
game?
stuck in my head. I needed to. But anyways, that wraps up the breeze around the league, and we're hopping straight in to the Kirby on Sports Pick'em for this week. As always, you pick with us, and
Oh
if
wait,
you
we're going straight into it. You said
we're going straight into it,
Okay,
buddy.
let's go.
Look at my record, sucker.
Hey,
Hurry up, pull up the graphic and let's
You
go.
pick with us, and if you get the most correct, you win a free large cheese pizza from Anthony's Pizza,
Yeah, we gotta
home
go.
of the Warrior. Carlos with the picks. Take it away.
Okay, so after 8 beautiful weeks of football, we have ourselves some changes. All right. So after this last week, the rankings are Dan remains in first place, the number one contender to my beautiful title, and he's working his way towards getting our beautiful custom belt that we have yet to order, but we will do that soon. Probably do it during the playoffs, honestly. Dan currently has a record of 29-19. Hold on, I am actually not prepared at the moment. Give me 1 second.
Oh, good.
I am not prepared right now.
Oh my gosh, she is not prepared.
I am not.
To be fair.
Okay. So Dan is 29-19. He went 5-1 for the week. Congratulations, Dan. Almost had the perfect week. Then the 49ers messed it up for you.
Yeah, they knew I picked them, so that's why they lost.
And boys, I warned you.
He did say 2 weeks ago.
Don't let me. Don't you guys
Don't
are
hang around.
Don't let me hang around. Because I'm gonna get hot. Your boy's getting hot.
He's
I
going for
went
Kirby first.
4-2 for the week, and I am now solidly in second place, making my comeback, trying to catch Dan. It won't happen this week because we have too many similar picks.
Yeah.
And I am now with a 27-21 record. And then our stooge of stooges, our 2-time loser,
Our pancake.
trying to become the 3-time loser.
Lover.
Our 48 pancake owing host had the worst showing we've had this season in the pick'ems.
Brutal.
With a 1-5 pick record for this week, and now sits at 25-23. Of course, trying to tell me to stay humble a couple weeks ago. But listen, bro, that's just not my game, bro. That's just not me. Listen,
It was just all in fun.
listen, you're reigning defending champion. Just can't keep it to himself, you know. And I gotta say, Kirby, that was pathetic. Some of your picks last week were just abysmal. I mean,
I wish we could pull up last week's
hold on.
draft pick.
Hold on. I'm
Carlos.
pulling him up right now.
Carlos.
Kirby picked the 49ers, which we all picked the 49ers.
Yeah,
so
yeah, come on. Yeah.
Okay, I can't knock you for that one. Okay. Pick the Cowboys. That's the one he got right. We all picked the Cowboys. Smart pick.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. Okay.
Thank you.
Pick the Browns over the Seahawks.
Yeah, that was
Granted,
a dumb pick.
that wasn't a bad pick though, because the Seahawks were leading in that. Or, I'm sorry, not the Seahawks. The Browns were leading in that game and had an opportunity to win it. Okay,
No,
I'm not gonna knock you for that one either.
You're trashing me on my picks, but you're saying that was a good pick.
Wait,
they lost
because I haven't gotten to the bad ones yet.
Because there's some bad ones too.
The bottom half is where I'm gonna
bad.
get.
It's really bad.
This is where I got to get you now. You picked Pittsburgh over the red hot Jacksonville Jaguars.
I wasn't thinking correctly.
You picked
I thought that was a
Kenny
toss-up.
Small Hands Pickett over the prince that was promised in Trevor Lawrence.
Kenny, I've only known Pittsburgh.
Small hands, baby hands, baby hands. Then you this was the most egregious one of them all. You picked the Green Bay Packers over the Minnesota Vikings. You picked Jordan Love over Kirk Cousins after Kirk Cousins just had this red hot win over the 49ers. You picked the Green Bay Packers. Explain yourself. Explain yourself.
Anything can happen in the NFL. I just came off on up on the losing end.
And then now this one I'm not going to knock you for because I also picked the Atlanta Falcons, but you also picked the Atlanta Falcons, which if they would have started Taylor Heineke,
they came back.
If they would have started Taylor Heineke from the start, they probably would have won.
Thank you.
But they started Desmond Ridder, and that's the last time I'll ever pick the Falcons if Desmond Ridder started. But you royally screwed that last week up. 1-5, dude.
That takes talent to be that wrong. It really does. So well done, Kirby.
Anyways, so with that being said, the rankings are as they should be. Kirby in last place, me and Dan fighting for first.
Well, Carlos, that's why you're a man that needs no introduction, because you introduce yourself.
You're goddamn right. I don't. I step into a room, everybody knows I'm there. Everybody knows who I am. Everybody knows I'm the champion. Everybody knows I'm your reigning defending champ, the head of the table, the tribal chief of this podcast. That is me.
Oh, here we go.
Let's go.
Maybe not everybody likes you being a man of the hour.
We got to get into the segment. Okay, so our picks this week, we will be choosing from the marquee game, Cowboys versus Eagles. Then we will also be picking Dolphins, Chiefs, Bills, Bengals. We got some bangers this week, boys.
Really good games.
Seahawks, Ravens. We decided to do Colts, Panthers just because I thought it was going to be fun. And then Commanders, Patriots because I wanted to torture Kirby a little bit. So with that being said, my picks, as always, I'm contractually obligated to take the Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't ever have reasoning behind them. I just always have to pick them. I would take the Bengals over the Bills. I just think the Bengals right now are red hot, and I don't think Buffalo can really. I don't know. Buffalo is just so up and down. They're so inconsistent. You don't know which Buffalo you're going to get, but I think it being in Kansas City. Kansas City. I'm sorry. I was looking at the Kansas City logo for a second. It being in Cincinnati definitely helps Cincinnati, and it's on Sunday Night Football. So, yeah. I will take the Ravens over the Seahawks. I just think the Ravens will win this game. I think Seattle's good, but I think the Ravens are better. I will take the Colts over the Panthers. I think because the Colts offense has been so red hot, despite the fact not having Gardner Minshew as a quarterback, I think that they're going to just absolutely destroy the Panthers. I don't think the Panthers are going to be able to keep up offensively. And then I will take the Commanders over the Patriots. I hope the Commanders take more from take what they've learned from these two games against Philly offensively. And if they do take what they've learned from those games and apply it here to New England, they should beat the Patriots handily. And with all that said, let me send it to the number one contender, Dan.
Thank you, sir. So the first game, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles over the Dallas Cowboys. Part of my reasoning in this is that the game is in Philadelphia. But a very difficult game to pick. I think it's going to come down to the very end. These are two great teams. Obviously, NFC East clash. I'm really excited to watch that game, boys. It's gonna be a good one. But I think the Eagles hold a slight edge. I'm gonna take the Kansas City Chiefs over the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins have certainly been red hot in the last couple weeks, but I think Kansas City rights the ship. This is a game I think Kansas City has to win to show that
It
they
is in
are.
Munich, though, so we do have to factor that in. It's not at Arrowhead. It's in Europe. Weird things can happen. But
It could be a low-scoring game. Honestly, because it's in
be.
Munich, it could be a low-scoring game.
One key stat I do want to throw at you guys is that the Dolphins have not beat a team with a winning record in a long time.
That's true. All of their wins are against bad teams. So
that is a good stat that we might need to keep into consideration come next week.
Yeah, they always look great against those bad teams, but yeah, we've got to see what they can do against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Chiefs will find a way to win this game. I'm going to go with the Bengals over the Bills.
I know this.
It does, but I got to give mad respect to how the Bengals have been playing the last few weeks, especially this past weekend, starting to catch fire now and get back to their old ways. And I agree with Carlos. It's like Buffalo is just so inconsistent. You don't know what team you're going to get. And
defensively, they're just really bad. They're just not good on defense. And like I said, the offense.
Too many weapons for the Bengals in this game.
I mean, Jamar, this could be a big game for Jamar and for Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati in that game. Got to contractually obligated to pick my Ravens over the Seattle Seahawks. And anyway, I think the Ravens will win this game regardless. But I think that's going to be a good game. Definitely a tough matchup for the Ravens, but I think they pull it out. You're going to take the Colts. What's that? Yeah, it's home too. Yeah, which is definitely helpful for us because we struggle when we go out west. But I'm going to take the Colts over the Panthers. Panthers finally got their first win, but I think the Colts are gonna take care of them pretty handily in this game. The same reasons as Carlos stated. I just think Carolina is just too. They just have too many issues right now to put together 2 straight wins. So I'm going to go with the Colts. And then lastly, and I'm probably going to come back to bite all of us, is picking the Commanders over the New England Patriots. Let's face it, the Patriots are a disaster right now. I mean, just straight up.
They beat the Bills.
And they somehow beat the Bills. Yeah. So those are my picks. I don't have much confidence that Washington's going to go out and win that handily. I do think they win, but I think it's going to be close there at the end. So those are my picks. I throw it to your host, co-founder, and commander-in-chief.
And bottom of the barrel.
And last.
Thank you very much. I'm going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles. I think home field advantage plays a huge part. And another part, the Hurts to A.J. Brown connection, I think is going to continue to go on the up and up trend. But division games are weird. We'll just have to see it.
We'll see.
I'll pick the Dolphins over the Chiefs due to the out-of-country factor. I could see this going either way. I think playing in Munich is going to add a factor in terms of travel time and how you get acclimated, so on and so forth.
Certainly would.
I'm picking the Bengals. They are looking red hot. But just on a side note, how emotional this game is going to be come Sunday night?
Why would it be emotional? They already had their emotional game.
Last year, these teams played, remember?
Yeah, remember they played again in the playoffs.
That's true.
So they've already had this.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't even realize. But it's in Cincinnati this time.
Sure, that's fair.
Yeah, but yeah, that is true. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Either way, it'll still be
emotional.
It'll still be an emotional moment, I imagine, just because it's back to the scene of where it all went down. But
yeah, absolutely. And Sunday Night Football teased it a little bit about like some video or something, but besides the point, Bengals over the Bills. I have the Baltimore Ravens over the Seattle Seahawks, but I think this is going to be a really close and competitive matchup.
Agreed.
I will pick the Indianapolis Colts, and I am contractually obligated to pick the Washington Commanders, and I will
let it be known that Kirby keeps trying to get out of that and thinks that just because he's the host and the CEO that he's all special and that he doesn't have to do what me and Dan have to do. You don't think that there are times where I don't want to pick the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Okay. But I have to because I'm a man of principle. Okay. So I have to stand on it and you got to support your team no matter what, through thick and thin.
Amen.
I do, but I'm going to laugh in your faces because you had a choice if the Commanders lose.
I mean, realistically, I was going to pick the Commanders. I think the Commanders offensively are much better than Mac Jones and, his band of misfits.
And listen,
let's hope.
And listen,
Let's
if they
hope.
lose, we all lose that matchup. So
Exactly.
Who
It doesn't hurt. Again, Kirby, so like this pick'ems, there's not going to be a lot that's going to change in this pick'ems because realistically,
this week especially,
at best, Kirby, you're going to tie me if you get the Eagles and Dolphins correct. That's at best is you're going to tie me. Other than that, we all have the same picks. So I can only close the gap by 1 on Dan if the Cowboys pull off the upset.
We only picked that one game differently.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I write my picks down before you guys ever send them to me. So it's not I wait. It's not like I wait for you guys to send your picks and I'm like, okay, I'm going to match you here, here, and here. I could easily do that because of course I have to make the graphic, but no, I usually.
Well, I was the stooge who sent mine in the group chat that one time and I was like, damn it, why did I do that? Now I'm both seeing my picks. Like,
yeah. Kirby took forever to send his picks this time, but besides the point, there won't be that much movement in this week's pick'ems.
Agreed. But that is the NFL Week 9 pick'em. As always, pick with us. We'll have this graphic up on the Kirby on Sports Podcast Facebook page as soon as Carlos sends it my way. And then you pick with our picks. If you get the most correct, you win a free large cheese pizza from Anthony's Pizza in Stevens City, Virginia. So big thanks to them. And hey, a big thanks to our sponsors, as always, on the Kirby on Sports Podcast, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Barrett, Pest, and Termite Services, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, Shenandoah Music, and Don't Sleep Energy, the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports Podcast. It's now time for a special announcement regarding this Sunday. Carlos.
No, you got to do it.
Oh, I have to. I didn't know if I was teasing it your way.
No.
He has graced me with permission. This Sunday, starting at 9:30 in the morning.
God damn it.
Until midnight, maybe, depending on how much fun we have.
Not midnight.
It's on a Sunday, bro. We're not going until midnight.
No, we are. Okay. Watch NFL with us. We'll have all the games and we're live streaming. You watch the game. You can listen to our commentary.
You can tune in.
Watch along, tune in, interact.
Yeah, we'll be having a live watch along week 9 starting at 9:30. Chiefs, Dolphins. We will be having separate streams per se. So like it's not going to be one long stream. It'll be we'll do one stream for the Dolphins, Chiefs. We have 3 primary games that we will be watching live from the bunker in West Virginia because the boys are coming to my house. Yes, the first time the boys are coming to hang out with me in my territory.
Is that what it's called? The bunker?
Yeah, we're calling it the bunker.
There we go.
Because we are technically going to be underground since we'll be in the basement.
True that.
So we're in the bunker. We will have 3 screens going. We'll have the projector. We'll have and 2 other TVs, and of course laptops and such. We will be focusing on 3 games and have Red Zone on, and then our auxiliary TV, our third TV option, will have another game that maybe we want to focus on, whether it be Commanders, Patriots, or whatever other game we feel like watching. But we will be doing Dolphins, Chiefs early in the morning, 9:30 a.m. Have your coffee, have your breakfast with us.
Yes. What a better way to start your Sunday
with us. Like, I'm okay. Whatever you want to do, man. Have a morning beer. I don't care.
It's all you.
Just join us in the morning. We'll be shooting the stuff early. The 1:00 game that we will be focusing on is, of course, Ravens Seahawks. We will also have Commanders Patriots on at the same time, and Red Zone going on at that point. So we'll be able to keep up with everything going on in the NFL at that time. And then, of course, the big one, our main event at 4:25. Of course, we have Cowboys Eagles. And we'll be doing that one. We will not be doing Sunday Night Football because unfortunately, Dan lives pretty much 2 hours away and has to go home. So we will not be live streaming Sunday Night Football, despite it being a big matchup. But
it's just too much to do that much football.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then at the time that it's going to end, it's not feasible for Dan to do. So we'll end the stream as soon as Cowboys Eagles ends. Join us live, and we we'll, comment, and be part of the show. And we're gonna have ourselves a good time. We're gonna have some food. We're gonna bash Kirby for his awful picks, and
it's all about the interaction too. We want the it's all about the fans.
We promise this time we will actually be entertaining, unlike the last time we did it.
Yeah, we were sort of dead the last time.
Also, we have our fourth correspondent joining the live stream. Please, boys, please welcome our fourth correspondent. Come here.
I think I know who it is.
Uh-oh. Our fourth correspondent is coming in just a second.
Our sideline reporter, Chief.
Look at him.
Oh my gosh.
All the audio listeners cannot see a Chief in his perfection.
He is so cute. Oh my gosh.
But there is Chief.
Yes, Chief will be joining us for the live stream. He will be our morning Chiefs correspondent. He will be coming to us live from Munich, Germany.
Bark, 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 bark. I can't wait.
So we'll have that up and promoted as soon as we can. But that about wraps it up for episode 190 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, 5-star rating. Find us everywhere, kirbyonsports.com.
Have a closing.
And all the listening platforms, all the streaming platforms. For Dan Dembski, make sure you check Dan out because he's awesome too. Carlos is awesome as well, so check him out. So, it's great. It's great. Always great connecting with each and every one of you. Carlos, take it away.
All right. The 3-man booth will assemble on Sunday, and the 49ers and Eagles keep fleecing the league. But remember, boys and girls, Kirby's pity party starts tomorrow at 3.
Goodbye, everybody.
Very good. Very good.